Now then, Valentine's Day. It may be a distant memory, but we're still feeling rather loved up here at Loose Women. Just like today's lovebirds, in fact, Amanda Barrie and Hilary Bonner. Sunetra has been taking a look at their love story.
Originally known for having a carry-on, Amanda Barrie reached soap opera fame as Corrie's Alma, who famously fell in love with no-nonsense factory owner Mike Baldwin.
I love you, Mrs.
Marrying him in 1992. Over 10 years later, and she swapped the cobbles for cells as bad girl Bev.
I'm beginning to feel very Svetlana.
Off-screen, Amanda's own love life hit the headlines when she proudly came out at the age of 67. Something she opened up about here on Loose Women.
Well, I knew at that time I would have lost my job. Not now. I mean, now. I mean,
Well,
every other street there's somebody gay.
Because you were gay?
Yeah.
After finding love and marrying her sweetheart, Hilary Bonner, in 2014.
Please welcome Amanda Barrie and Hilary Bonner. Yay! So, looking at those clips back there, so you were in Corrie for about 20 years.
How long was it? Yes.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
81 to 2000.
On and off.
I have to ask her.
And all the time that you were in it, you kept your sexuality a secret. And I think a lot of young people watching this now who have a completely different life would be astonished by that. But tell us what the climate was like at that time.
Oh, well, I mean, it's silly to say in a show like Corrie, there was no camp of any sort about. None. I mean, you couldn't... There was nothing camp. You thought, no, nothing. It was very... there were various people in charge of the show, so they sort of called the tune. And there was, I have to say, we call it whatever you like, but what people did was they sold it to the press. So they tipped the press off, and the press then went, there's a story there. So they came, and my goodness, they did. And then, of course, the very same people who would have done that are the very same people who would have said, well, I'm not going to write somebody who's gay.
But you so you edited your life.
Completely. I mean,
yeah.
I never ever said, if somebody said, what are you doing this weekend? I edited the sex person out of it, and it was there.
See, I find, Amanda, I find that quite distressing because I know that you only came out publicly in your autobiography in 2002, written by Hilary here. So the thing is that you worked for all those years leading a double life, but that was very much something that happened in soap drama, because a few people on the show knew you were gay, didn't you?
I was out to everybody. I mean,
all her friends and family.
All your friends.
Everybody knew.
But elsewhere on television, my point is there were gay characters on television, and in documentaries we talked about gay issues, because in the 70s I remember making a documentary about teenage lesbians, and it just went out at lunchtime on a Sunday without any comment.
Oh, well,
but isn't it interesting that in Coronation Street it was like a time warp?
No, I don't think it was a time warp. That applied not just in Coronation Street. I mean, I can speak personally for the amount of interest. I mean, God knows what, they didn't have anything to look at about the news. Why they would be bothered what my sex life was like, I have no idea.
You are sitting next to, and are in fact married to, a journalist.
Yes,
Indeed. So when she grumbles, I tell her she's lost her voice because she married me.
You know, married the red top.
So tell us about your story. Tell us about how, when you met and how you got together.
Oh, well, to cut it short, because I'll be here all day telling you.
No, I'm asking Hilary.
Oh, sorry.
So this is how it is. Lovebirds.
Sorry.
Lovebirds.
All right, you tell them.
Hilary, you were a journalist, right?
I was a journalist.
Did you go to an interview, Amanda?
Yes, it was an interview. There was a lovely man called Peter Mayers, who was press officer at Coronation Street, and he and I used to do a most unusual thing. We used to get together and talk about stories that we could do that wouldn't upset his life and wouldn't upset mine. And the police
the good old-fashioned way.
Good old-fashioned way. And those of us who were show business specialists, we knew about Amanda. And Peter said, look, I've been sitting next to Amanda Barrie at a dinner. She's such a great talker. Would you like to come and do an interview with her, if that is all you can do, about her running away to Soho when she was 13 to become a showgirl? Well, of course, I bit his hand off. And I duly went to Manchester. We sat in a restaurant with Peter Mares. We only had about an hour and a quarter, and I got a three-parter out of it. You'd be proud of me, Jane.
Very good.
Headlined The Secret Life of Coronation Street's Alma, which was very, very clever, because those who knew, and those who didn't. And we got on extremely well.
We got very well,
very
didn't we?
well.
Yes,
and we
no complaints.
And we then, when it was Grand National Time, she was a great racing person. I took her to see Red Rum, and we have pictures all over the paper.
Yeah.
And we went out to a lovely Chinese meal in Manchester, and we got on extremely well, and said we'd see each other again, and we didn't for 10 years.
10 years.
And then she phoned me. Well, it was amazing that she had my phone number.
I don't rush things. You know.
And that was to do your work.
Sorry.
A slow burn.
I just wanted to ask you, the Drury Lane Theatre has hosted some amazing events, and it also it was where you got married.
Yeah.
What was behind that?
Well,
We couldn't find anywhere to get married. I'm not getting married
persuade
there.
her. I had to stand in the kitchen with a carving knife. I turned around and
She
said,
probably used to be with a
"Got
knife in
married."
her hand. She did. No, but so we to cut it into its little thing, we couldn't find anywhere to get married. Oh, I'm not going to. Oh, let's not bother.
That suited Madam.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah.
And then we were in Pantomime, and Dundee was talking to us about where he got married. He said he got married at Drury Lane Theatre, and I went, I'm
That's
married
it,
him straight.
fix it.
Book it. Get Drury Lane Theatre booked. I'll be there.
party plan
And
it.
did any of the Corrie stars go to that wedding?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Helen came. Everybody
Helen
was
came,
working. Sue
yeah.
couldn't come. No, no. But it was only. I think it was only by Helen, wasn't it?
And of course, if you look
Well,
at Corrie now, it's massively inclusive, isn't it? I mean,
Darling, you're joking. I'm surprised the Rovers didn't have a gay night. I mean, you sort of, if you looked at the people who were in there, everybody came. You could lucky you find somebody who's straight. You say, oh my God. they're
Amanda,
not-
does it make you feel bitter about the time, all the years that you led the double life, that you couldn't drag them into the present
Well, you see, we had to also remember that Henry and I were both married to men people.
Yes.
Before we,
Men people, that's a really good way of putting it.
Men or changed before we changed tracks into another life and things. So I don't mind about anything. What I do mind about is that that it's no big deal. You know, a thing over your head.
Yeah.
Oh, with anything.
How was that
I can't be
newsworthy?
doing with it at all. You know, don't try and pigeonhole me.
I mean, I think both Amanda and I, we're here today talking about our life together and the problems that Amanda had and so on, and we're quite happy to do that. But wouldn't it be wonderful if there were a day when you weren't even interested in asking us, because it was the norm, and that to me that would be real diversity.
Hear, hear.
That
Prior
people
to me.
people of different, whatever their sexuality, whatever their race, we're not interested in that. We're interested in what they do in life and what they're like. And
talking of which, what you do in life.
Jane, I love you.
You have written 21 books, and you have a play called Dead Lies, which is going on tour from April,
And there's the
which sounds fantastic. Now, very quickly before you go, it's Love Week, and we've asked all the couples to do our kiss cam.
Oh.
Yeah.
So would you mind having a little kiss on our kiss cam? Basically, you just kiss each other. Go on, you just kiss each other.
Hilary, go for it.
Yay!
Oh,
Fantastic.
It's been a long time, hasn't it, darling?
God, I've forgotten what that was like.
We do it again.
Fantastic to talk to you both. Thank you so much for coming in.